The boy Wicked 100. Yeah. Line them boys up. And then want to talk about him as if he ain't had nothing to do with it. That they did it themselves. This how dirty he is. You hear me? The boy ain't nobody's friend. Those was, his homies at one time. Well, he say Luce Cannon was always his enemy. But Big U was his homie at one time. And I'ma just be real. Big U only probably wanted to squabble with the nigga. That's it. He probably only just wanted to squabble with the bull. Hey, listen, we got differences. You running your mouth. You a hater. Let's just go ahead and get the squabble in, and let's leave it at that. He probably only wanted to squabble with Wicked100. But he was so scared, he ain't want none of that, because he done already had his ass whooped too many times. He done already got hands and feet put on him several times. That would have been a major embarrassment coming from Big U, even though we know Tiny Draws put the paws on him. His uncle, he ain't want no smoke from the uncle. Tiny Draws put them paws on him. He ain't want no smoke from uncle. Just keeping it real, But Wack popped that shit behind the scenes, right? And he only go at the people that he feels he can intimidate. But the people that's on that, he not gonna go at them, Just being real. Luce Cannon. We know that Wack was lining Luce Cannon up. That was his job. His job was to be around Luce Cannon, get all the information, and line him up. Recording, report everything you hear to the authorities. So Wicked100 couldn't get no squabble with Luce Cannon because that was his job. So he had to make sure that, he played his role. When Luce Cannon would talk slick to him, he wasn't saying nothing back to Luce Cannon because he was at work. He was at work. And even if he wasn't at work, I doubt he would have went and said anything to Luce Cannon for the simple fact that Luce Cannon would have still squabbled. Win, lose, or draw, I see like Luce Cannon is definitely special, right? But I think he would squabble though. Straight up. I think he would get down. If Wack wanted to get down with him when he was out, he would have got down. But Wack was on a mission. Line him up, get all the information, and now that he's locked up, he just throwing all types of things in the air. We know Wack is a professional liar. Now that Luce Cannon locked up, he just throwing all kinds of shit out there to try to manipulate the people so that the people can be confused. But the bottom line is Wicked100 line them boys up. So no matter what he tries to come up with, saying about Luce Cannon, saying about Big U, he was working with them people to secure that indictment. And I know his people on Clubhouse, they not going challenging and asking the right questions because they following him. But that's what he was doing. He was making sure he got the information for the government, making sure their case was right, And it's clear to see that Wack is working. This ain't no like shit that it take a rocket science to see this shit. It's clear. The boy is working. And what I'm seeing about, some of these people that be around him, right? They allow Wack to make an excuse as if he was bringing these guys to tell on themselves. Let's be real. When does that make sense? As if somebody is supposed to be this so-called street guy, this Paru, or whatever he want to call himself, even though I know he them people, right? He's not a Paru, he's them people, right? But what sense does that make, right? For Wicked100 to say that I was only bringing a nigga to tell on himself, and then the people that's supposed to be gang members sit there and act like that's validating what he did. They're allowing this man, right, to tell them that he put them in a seat to line themselves up, but he didn't line them up. What kind of sense does that make if we being real? When you take somebody to talk about specific things, the details in the crime of the case, there is no justifying that you took them to tell on themselves. What type of street guy, Paru, gangster does that? If we being real. This is why I could never understand why anybody would try to even justify that. And I'm saying that for anybody that says, oh, Wack was smart, he took them people to tell on himself. No, he was doing a job for the government. That's what he was doing. It wasn't just about him getting his ops out the way with telling on. No, he was doing a job for the government. You think about this, right? Oh, you think it's just a coincidence of the timing for Wicked100 to put these people, Luce Cannon and his homies, in front of certain situations, and then the indictments come out? It don't work like that, man. I'm just being real. Whereas though you got Dale, you got Molly Moore, and all these people cooperating on their end, making sure that they give the information and, talk to the authorities. And then you got Wack on this end dealing with Luce Cannon and Big U, making sure that they got themselves in the cookie that way too. Just think about this shit. So when I be hearing people say, yo, Wack was smart and he got his ops to do this. No, that nigga was working with the government. That's what he was doing. That wasn't smart. That nigga was on some police shit, lined the boys up, got them to get on here and give the information for the government so the government won't have to use him to testify. That's all. Wack's not going to have to testify because of the way that he got it done. And you got to understand, right? The government instructed him to do that way. You think that the government didn't line it up that way? That shit was designed by the government. They made sure they working on a major RICO with the 60s. You think that Wicked100 instructed how they should do it? No, that nigga worked for them. They told him how to do it. Yo, get him on the platform. Get him to go here. Get him to talk about these specific things. You understand this, right? So when a nigga be saying, oh, Wack took him here and he got him to tell on himself. No, nigga, that nigga was instructed to do that way. This is why he was around Luce Cannon for so long. See, he was around Luce Cannon for 13 months, right? And the feds, they come in and grab the indictment on the case, lock everybody up, but they wanted to make sure that they was getting all the information they can out of Luce Cannon through Wack. So they got Wack running around with the bull, right? Acting like they friends, but the whole time, Wack is reporting everything. Trust and believe. That's why they was at the convention. Everywhere Wack was traveling when he was with Luce, the feds was around. They wanted to make sure that he was comfortable, as in he felt like he had somebody there in case it go left towards him because of his mission. You know, I think, just being honest, that the feds was out there in the situation when Jay Reed and Marciano got beat up. I think the feds was out there, literally, you know, but it would have blew their cover if they would have stepped in right there. They let this shit go on through. They seen everything. They knew everything that was happening, you know, because they got Wack. They protecting and watching Wack. You feel what I'm saying? So from what I see, Wack ain't smart at all. Not at all. He's just smart to people that don't got no damn common sense. To the goldfish that's on Clubhouse, of course he gonna be smart to them, because he can tell them anything. You know what I'm saying? He can tell them anything. You know, Luce Cannon was looking for opportunity, so of course he was gonna fall for whatever Wack was saying. He looking for opportunity. Wack got a mission. Line these niggas up, get them out the way. He was scared of Big U. He ain't want no smoke with Big U, you know? So, of course, he played that game that he was instructed to play. You feel what I'm saying? Just keeping it a buck. Hey, listen, the niggas, them folks, you know what I'm saying? And we gonna keep breaking it down. Since he keep going on the internet, targeting, talking about specific people and thinking that he's hiding behind something, nigga, we ain't stopping. Straight up. We ain't stopping. Hell no. You know, if you don't agree with it, go find somebody else to watch. Straight up. That's all. We making sure that we shut it all the way down. Consistent. Ain't gonna be no room in nobody's mind to look at the man as if he's not who he is. Them folks. We want to make sure. Ain't no guessing who he is. Straight up. Ain't no, oh nah, Wack good peoples. Wack ain't no good peoples. Nigga, who the hell he done something good for? Who? Who has he done something good for? Nobody. At all. Straight up. That nigga be manipulating people, lining people up. You know, he real childish. You know what I'm saying? He get upset. He real emotional. Oh, Carl Thomas ass nigga. Real emotional. You know what I'm saying? And he be lining people up. You know, niggas think they getting the opportunity because he been around certain people. You ain't getting no opportunity with Wicked100 at all. Nigga, you gonna get a one-way ticket to the can. You gonna get a fast-track indictment. That's facts. That shit he doing is getting niggas fast-track indictments. You know what I'm saying? Just keeping it a buck. You gonna have a case. You gonna be fighting for your life. Now Wicked100 talking about Luce Cannon rejected a plea to a year and a day to snitch on Big U. Nigga, y'all already lined Big U up, nigga. Straight up. You and Luce Cannon already gave the information for Big U to get indicted, locked up, convicted, everything. Nigga, y'all made sure that y'all got the information out there. Fuck is you talking about? That nigga just be lying. See, he trying to spin the shit. That's what he trying to do now. He know the case got pushed back till February. So all he's doing is trying to throw different shit out there to mix up the people's mind. He want to confuse the people by throwing this out here, throwing that out there, and then have you thinking, well, what is it? No, that nigga lined them niggas up, straight up. That nigga's working with the government, straight up, and he's acting like he's not. You understand where I'm coming from? Smash that like button. You just came in the building, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, man. We ain't going for that shit around here. You know, that's the thing, you know, we do. We stand on what we see. Hold up. We not going for no bullshit. You think you going to tell us Luce Cannon did this and Big U and all this shit, and all we see is you the one that's telling everybody the information. You the one that's providing all the information. You the one that's working with the authorities. How the fuck we gonna act like we don't see this shit after we see it clear as day? Nigga, if you sit at the table with a nigga that's giving the information that the feds is using for this indictment, why wouldn't you be somebody that they want to talk to? Because you was instructed and you've been talking to them, giving them the information to do what happened. Like, that shit clear as day. That shit is way beyond what the nigga's saying. And you got to think about this, right? The dude lies so much. Why would Wicked100 agree to that right there? Saying, yeah, hey, man, if I took him to tell on himself, then that's him. Like, hold up. Nigga, you in the streets. You saying you Paru. You come from this jungle and all this shit, right? Why would you be so comfortable with taking a nigga to tell on himself for the feds? It's a federal indictment. Straight up. It's a federal indictment now. Why would you be so comfortable with taking a nigga to talk about a case that the feds is using for the RICO? Can we keep it a buck? Can we keep it a buck, y'all? Think about this. This is the case. The dispensary robbery is the case that makes up a major part of the RICO. And it just so happened that Wicked100 was at the center of where the information came from. Does that not show you? Hold up. Why are you at the center of that, bro? You at the center of the information that the feds is using for the indictment, but you ain't got nothing to do with the shit? Yeah, all right. This is why Wicked100 is not going to go back and forth with me. I'm not allowing you to tell me that, oh, you sat them there and they told on themselves. Negative, my guy. You took them there for that specific reason. You wanted the information to be there so you can play the manipulation game that you didn't do nothing. Think about this, right? Let's just be real. Let's just really be real, right? If Wicked100 can take gang members, right, to these platforms and get them to tell on themselves, why wouldn't the feds contact him? Hold up. Why wouldn't they? Oh, you got a good way of doing things, brother. Straight up. You got a good way of doing things. Why wouldn't they contact the nigga? Yo, listen. You do this good. You take the gang members here to tell on themselves so they can't backtrack on what they say because it's on camera. It's audio, visual, everything. Just keeping it a buck. You know what I'm saying? You do this shit well. So, of course, the feds would be in contact with the nigga Wack. Why wouldn't they? Nigga, you getting the information out that we need and we ain't even got to be right there? Oh, hell yeah. So, of course, they would be contacting me. Either way, nigga, you doing them a service. Come on now. You doing them a service. Now, Luce Cannon, he didn't, display none of this, I'm going to do something to Wack when he was around him. No. They was running there tight. But Wack was lining him up. Made him feel comfortable. Made him feel like he was doing something for him. And guess what? Even did some things for him. Come on, man. Y'all understand that the feds print the money. They print the money. The government prints the money.